So there are moments in American politics, moments of opportunity, moments of tragedy that cause moments of opportunity. I'm obviously thinking of that because this is the anniversary of September 11th, the 24th anniversary of the September 11th attacks, which was a moment in American politics and did create at least some opportunity for a change or a change in mindset, a way to think differently. Was it a permanent change? No, I acknowledge that. It's also the day after the what I believe to be the political assassination of Charlie Kirk. I guess you could just call it the murder of Charlie Kirk at a speech at Utah Valley University. Um, and I think this is another moment. And I don't mean that you don't have to love Charlie Kirk and everything he said. I know he was controversial. Obviously, I mean, I think he was purposely controversial. I like that he engaged in civil debate in public with people. I didn't agree with most of what he said, but I liked that he was willing to test his ideas against other people. So I do think when something like this seizes the country, gets is the story in the country, um, opportunity exists. Opportunity exists to um, rethink or at least spend a day thinking on uh, who we are, what we're doing, and where we're headed. To me, where we're headed is no place good. Obviously, anyone who watches me, reads me, knows that I am a big advocate that we have to recognize our common humanity, that we are in a political system that focuses on what separates us, not what brings us together. And that when we do that, we forget how much we do, in fact, have in common. Here's the problem, and I don't want to be negative. I'm hoping I'm wrong, but here's the problem as I see it. Our political leaders, I don't think, are up to this moment. Um, I think if we had really high end political leadership more interested in bringing us together than dividing us, we would be able to have a conversation about how an escalating cycle of political violence uh, doesn't benefit anyone. That retaliation for the retaliation for the retaliation just leads to more retaliation. That when someone is murdered while practicing the thing that sits at the heart of our democracy, free speech, um, it is a danger to all of us, whether you liked or hated that person. But our leaders, I worry, are not up to it. I want to give you two examples. One, um, on the House floor after the news of Charlie Kirk being shot went national, there was a call for a prayer. And Lauren Boebert, a member of Congress, a Republican from Colorado, said, silent prayers get silent results or something, and that she wanted someone to lead the House in a oral prayer. There were shouts of no. Anna Paulina Luna, a Florida Republican member, basically said, these Democrats and the corrupt media have ruined everything. There was a back and forth. There was talk about why aren't we praying for the school shooting that had happened in Colorado almost simultaneously with the shooting of Charlie Kirk. And eventually they did a prayer, but the fact that we can't agree on a prayer, like, let's just pray for the victims in the Colorado school shooting and Charlie Kirk, and let's figure it out. Let's figure out if somebody who is respected by both sides can do a prayer out loud, or maybe a silent prayer. If you don't want to, you say a silent prayer. Okay, so that's part one. Part two is Donald Trump put out something from the Oval Office on last night, on Wednesday night, 4-minute statement. And to me, it's exactly the wrong tone. He talked about the, quote, tragic consequences of demonizing those who we disagree with. Donald Trump calls people evil who disagree with him all the time. He says they're bad people. They hate America, right? So that felt tone deaf. He then said, this is a result of the radical left calling us Nazis. I mean, I don't know what the shooter's motivation was. We don't even know who the shooter was, so I'm not sure we know what the motivation was. But I will say, regardless, that this people will say on both sides of it. We have seen political violence directed at Republicans and Democrats, lots of it. So for Donald Trump to say this is about the tragic consequences of demonizing those with whom we disagree, yes, it is, and he is a leading purveyor of that, and he would do well to say, you know what, I'm going to stop talking in these ways about people because I understand now that there are consequences to these actions. For him to suggest that this is only a problem of the radical left, look, I don't think the left should call people with whom they disagree Nazis, but I also think that Donald Trump should not call people with whom he disagrees evil and malintended and bad. And I think how our leaders behave trickles down. So, I felt very disheartened by the fact that in the comment sections that I read across my stuff as well as other stuff, there was this need by people to litigate the fact that some studies show that there's more violent rhetoric on the right and political violence on the right than the left. Again, I'm not doubting that there's political violence on both sides, and there may well be more on the right than the left, right? I've seen studies that show lots of things, but let's grant that. But that doesn't get us where we need to go, right? I mean, ultimately, we all together have to solve this problem, right? This is not really a right problem or just a right problem or just a left problem. In fact, I would argue that when we think about it as the right versus the left, we are reinforcing the reality of this situation and why we are where we are. So I think our leaders are not up to this, starting with Donald Trump. And I think that does have a trickle-down effect on how the public sees all of this and how we react, because I think we're so quick to point the finger, to say, no, it's their fault. And that doesn't get us anywhere. Congratulations. Now what? Right? Now what? What do we do about it? This is a moment, right? The country is watching the story of Charlie Kirk's murder. This is a moment. I fear we are going to miss and are already missing the moment. Sorry for being dark, but that's where I'm at. Thank you, as always, for checking out my content and listening to me. I hope you do hit that subscribe button. I always try to be as honest and candid with you as I possibly can. I know you're not always going to agree with me. I think that's the point. You shouldn't always agree with me. All right.